The growth of every community is collaborative. The growth of every industry is collaborative. Like somebody said, Jim Rohn, everything that is good is done by a multitude of people. Good morning, and welcome to Voices from the Minds, brought to you on J11.9 FM by Ziva Community Initiative with support from Africa Center for Energy. And today we are talking about something I'm sure many of you will be very much interested in: community development agreements. What exactly does it mean? If you've never heard of the word before, we'll be dissecting all of it for you today, telling you what it means, what are some of the things that should be contained, and some of the problems that organizations, corporations that is, and communities have faced, as well as what we think the government can do and we as a people can do to ensure that corporations who are coming to our communities to mine would have a one-on-one conversation with the community and also do the things they need to do. My name is Umisi Daniel Chukwemeka, in case you haven't heard my name before. And like we always do every Friday from 9 to 10 a.m., I've got with me a seasoned resource person. Before I introduce her, let's go on this quick break. We'll be right back.
Every Friday on JFM, energy transition and climate change mitigation in Nigeria takes center stage, explaining the role of ASM in energy transition and climate change mitigation in Nigeria, with their objective to advocate and campaign for a full implementation of the Nigeria Energy Transition Plan and other global policies and treaties. Join Emeka Umesi and our seasoned resource persons on the role of artisanal and small-scale miners in energy transition and climate change mitigation in Nigeria. Fridays 9 to 10 a.m. only on J101.9 FM. Powered by Ziva Community Initiative, advocates for a sustainable community with support from Africa Center for Energy Policy.
Yes, you're still on to Voices from the Minds, brought to you by Ziva Community Initiative. And like I mentioned before, today we'll be talking about community development agreement. What does it mean? What are the pros and cons and everything in between? And with me this morning, I've got the beautiful resource person for programs officer for Ziva Community Initiative, Mrs. Mary Nenlamwa. Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
It's good to have you here. So first off, the big elephant in the room. When we say CDA, Community Development Agreement, to the layman, what does it mean?
Okay, good morning, listeners. Good morning, everyone, this morning. When we talk about CDA, we are talking about Community Development Agreement. And from the words community, we know we are talking about the communities. And from this perspective, we are looking at the mining host communities. So, community as it denotes, Community Development Agreement. Then the development, these are projects that will help the development of every community. Then when we talk about agreements, are people coming to agree? Communities, we have companies, we have government. So when we are looking at CDA, we are talking about Community Development Agreement. That means those projects that will help in the development of a mining community.
All right, you made mention of a number of things. So I want us to break it down into smaller particles. You talked about there's a community, there's a corporation, and then there's the government.
Yes.
So if I'm getting this right, in the CDA there are three arms involved: the community, the corporation, and the government.
Yeah.
Now for the community, is it compulsory that the corporation should meet with the community? And at what point does the corporation get to meet with the community?
Okay, on that is when you have a mining company coming into a community, right?
Yes.
Before they start, the first thing they are supposed to do is to meet the community people.
Okay.
Now, when you meet the community people, after doing all the processes of getting your documentations from the government, getting all the licensing and all that, before you start whatever you need to do in the community, you need to see the community people. You sit with them, with the representative from the government, from the federal ministry, where you sit and design and write and write a document on what you want to do for the community, because the community are supposed to benefit from your work. So how do you do that? It's through this agreement, it's through this meeting. You sit down and you write what you want to do to the community.
Now, you spoke about, the corporation sitting with the community.
Yeah.
Now, I imagine that this, in my head, the picture I have in my head is, there is like a negotiation table.
Yeah.
There's a community on one end, there's the corporation on another end, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong, and then there's the government who might play the umpire to sort of regulate this thing.
Yes.
True, of course. Right?
Yeah.
Now, in this negotiation table, who, for want of a better word, again, this is not a power tussle, but on negotiation table, there's always somebody who seems to have slightly more power. Who speaks first? Whose ideas reign echoed supreme in that conversation?
Okay, the ideas that should reign supreme is the community, because they are the ones that will benefit from the mining community. So they should be the ones to say what they will want the mining
corporation.
the corporation to do for their community. Yeah.
No, I remember listening to a conversation sometime, and this, I think his name is I've forgotten his name. He's an Italian researcher,
Okay.
and goes to African countries. And one of the things he talked about was a lot of times when foreigners, corporations go into African communities, more often than not, they want to impose their ideas on the community. Now, are there points in the conversation where the corporation says, this is too much? Question one. Question two, in meeting with the community, is it a specific group of people? Is it all of the community? How exactly does this community meetings go?
Okay, for the first question, there are times they feel when there's an imposition on them, it's not supposed to.
What do you mean by imposition?
If the mining community, if the mining companies come into the community and they just want to go ahead to start doing projects, they are not supposed to, because in every, there's what we call needs assessment.
Okay.
There's something that the community might want more than something else.
Okay.
So you cannot just come because you are mining and you feel you want to do something, you just come and start doing a project without the consent of the community members. So that is where you have to sit down and have the meeting with the community. Then on the second question,
Second question is, when is there a point where the mining corporation goes, we don't this thing you want us to do, we can't do it?
Yes, because if the project you want to do is not beneficial to the community, why the idea of CDA comes into play is the fact that you have mining companies, right, coming to communities and they mine, living without doing any project to the community. So that is why the federal government have brought this idea of CDA. There's a policy on CDA where you have to sit down with the community people. You look at which project you will do to the community. They might decide to say, okay, we want a school, we want a road, we want a hospital. So they outline those things that and the company is supposed